RuneScape Classic. RuneScape was an amazing title, and the second I discovered it, I told all my friends. We got online and we started grinding different levels out, discovering this game. It was an insanely huge RPG that felt like it had endless possibilities. So when I heard when RuneScape was coming out with their own crafting survival game, I was super excited because I love Valheim and I love the genre. I ended up grabbing an old elementary school friend and, we were rallying around this nostalgia. And this is my feedback of Dragonwilds. It's fun, but I don't think I really want to play it again. I don't feel like it has a lot of replayability, and that could have to do with it being so new and open beta, and it's missing a lot of things. Maybe if they, we were missing the ability to level up magic and archery, which is the other two classes that you could play. And even though you could still build the armor for archer and the weapons for mage and stuff like that, you couldn't there were no special abilities you were ever leveling up. So it felt like the game is very much okay, here's the essence of what we're trying to create. Here's that first chunk of the storyline. Here's the how the mechanics work. And I will say, I feel like they just made Valheim, but with less replayability. There's something so special about Valheim, and it's procedurally generated. And every time you go into a new Valheim, it's always different, and the world's so immersive because it's so. I don't know. I feel like the environments in Valheim are beautiful, and I'm not saying RuneScape Dragonwilds isn't. Look at this. Look at this footage. There's great cinematic moments. I like how they leaned into the more cartoonish sort of have their own style. I like that, but I feel like Valheim, I don't know, I like the aesthetic way more in Valheim. Not to say that RuneScape's bad, but it just is I don't know, I gotta get this out of the way. RuneScape Dragonwilds to me almost felt way too close to Valheim. I feel like they ripped stuff off that they didn't need to rip. RuneScape is such a unique title in itself. It feels like they made their version of Valheim and they slapped RuneScape's name on it and threw a fucking dragon in it, which Valheim already had. And I'm not saying Valheim is the newest. It's such a unique original idea. I know there's been crafting survival stuff, but I feel like the way Valheim did it was just I don't know. It's blown my mind since it's come out. I've put 800 hours into Valheim, so I know Valheim very well. I know that game's super inside and out. I've played it when it was just the Plains boss was just out, and that was the end of the game. And now it's almost approaching version 1.0. So I feel like I can safely say I know Valheim well. So when I came into RuneScape Dragonwilds, it's not that I was mad that RuneScape copied Valheim almost one for one, because I love Valheim and I didn't really have to learn anything new. Oh wow, put down a workbench and a fire. I will say their addition to the water mechanic is so lame, and I bet they get rid of it. I bet enough people are dude, stop making me drink water every 5 seconds. Chill. Find some other solution. I played so many hours of RuneScape when I was a little kid, the original RuneScape, and I was in Varrock, and I'd spent so many hours, just killing cows and chickens and fishing, and I loved every part of it. There was something so special about RuneScape, and I was hoping that this game would capture that. I was hoping that because it's a RuneScape title, you would see some of that magic. But to me, the whole time, the only thing I was thinking about was, Jesus, dude, they just copied Valheim. They took the whole base game of Valheim and then slapped some fucking storyline on it. And also, none of the world is procedurally generated. And all the quests and all the dungeons are going to always be the same. So in my mind, I'm where does this have any replayability? Does a game need to have replayability to make it great? I think it does. I think yes. In my opinion, yes, it does. I think all of my favorite games, there's a element of replayability. That's what makes it a great game. It's like you play it through once and then you're like, oh, I can do this creatively, or I can approach it in a new style. Or, you know what, now that I know all this information, my playthrough is going to be, smoother. Run's going to be better. There's going to be some sort of, every time I play, I feel like I'm improving and I'm learning more, and I'm seeing results from that. And then also there's like the discoverability. You know what I mean? It's like there's some element of the game where you're like, wow, that was great. I can't wait to boot up the next run through. And when I got done with RuneScape, I have not touched the game since finishing it. And I don't think that's a good sign. I feel like it's more of a maybe when they add the other classes, it's like we're like, oh, okay, now I want to play as an archer. But the problem is you're doing all the same stuff. You're killing all the same exact things. You're doing all the same quest lines. There's nothing that's going to be different about the first playthrough other than the way that you kill the enemies. And I think in that sense, Valheim is far, far superior to RuneScape Dragonwilds. I would say if you're going to play Dragonwilds, really focus on having fun that first playthrough. Get everything you want to get out of the game in the first playthrough. Do all the quests and discover everything you can, because after the first playthrough, I think the game's done. The game's done, in my opinion. Some of the differences that I really liked in RuneScape were the rune element, which, like, thank God they added that, because, with RuneScape in the title, they had to have something that made it look like a RuneScape game. I feel like I loved RuneScape, and I don't feel like this is a RuneScape game. I feel like I was literally just playing a Valheim reskin without any procedural generation. And I feel like the building mechanics were, like, okay. I'm also a huge fan of the build mode in Valheim that they added, where you don't have to, like, mine 10 hours. You can just, like, build whatever you want after you discover a material. I love that about Valheim. When they added that, I've switched over to that, and I've never gone back. Because I think that, for me, like, there's the game which you're playing, which is, like, fighting and unlocking resources, and you're making items. And then there's, like, the building thing, which is just purely just for, like, cosmetics and for fun. It's not really, it's a little bit about functionality, but building in Valheim, I feel like that's where I've spent so much time, and I'm so happy about, like, how the game progresses and how my base, like, sprawls out and how it looks, and the aesthetics of Valheim and everything that they've like allowed you to use. Valheim, for me, building in Valheim is like top tier. Like, oh my god, dude, this is like peak, like what building in a video game feels like, because it feels like you're crafting something within the world and it all lives within the same aesthetic. Building in RuneScape feels like a chore. I mean, I know they're changed. I saw some patch notes where they changed how the dragon approaches, and you can hide in your house now when the dragon comes. But it just feels like, I don't know. It's like kind of like, okay, now I gotta chop trees forever. Oh yeah, they have added some stuff where you can chop trees faster with the runes. Thank God, because it takes so long to build a little shack. And I don't know. That was what was so fun about building in Valheim. To me, that's one of the biggest values of Valheim is the world's always different. You can come across a grove that's got streams running through it, and it's got like all the biomes around it, and all of a sudden you're like, this is where I want to build my home. I've discovered something that I've never seen before, and it has all these amazing, beautiful elements. And also, like, in the afternoon, the light comes in, and I'm really focused on, like, okay, the light's gonna rise right there in the morning across the ocean, and I wanna build my house because I've discovered that the sun is perfect right here. The dark forest looks amazing with the sunlight in the afternoon, and I feel like RuneScape never even touched that. There's a couple moments where you see like, oh, okay, I guess this is the golden hour in the game. and that comes and goes so fast, and there's never really any environment where you're like, oh man, I really want to build here. I feel like the only place we built was in this beginning town area, and I know we could have changed that, and we didn't have to build there, especially after we unlocked the teleporters. If you're gonna make a one-to-one Valheim game, you gotta make sure you capture the things that make it amazing. And to me, RuneScape missed on a lot of those things. With that said, I still completed the game, what they had completable. Maybe I'd be willing after they finish the game to come back and play it. Like finish the quest line and maybe come back with my friend. Who knows, maybe they have enough things added that it would be worth one more playthrough. But I think that's about it. I don't think it's a game that I'm like gonna be like, oh, I gotta play this with all my friends. Like that's how I felt about the original RuneScape. It was like I couldn't pick up my landline to tell my friends fast enough about RuneScape. I used to like write runescape.com on the board in our homeroom classroom because I was like, dude, you guys have to check out this game. This is mind-blowing. And it was at the time. Honestly, as a little kid, and like, I don't even know what grade I was, 5th or 6th grade. It's like we just got like fast internet. I'm kind of dating myself here, but that was truly a time where it was like, okay, hey, and then my friends with dial-up, they could still play RuneScape. It was a game that I feel like everyone could kind of play at the time, and it was just a browser game. So I don't know, it was so fun. The progression system felt so amazing. When we all got, when I defeated the dragon so I could unlock the rune armor, it really felt like a true accomplishment. But the game was still fun if you did it or not, and I don't know, there was just something so special about RuneScape. And that's what I was hoping that I would see in this game, in this Valheim reskin, that they would have brought that RuneScape name to this game. Did they capture some of it? I think they kind of did. I mean, like the defeating the dragon was cool. The runes, all the rune spells were great. I liked pretty much all the rune spells. I liked how that unlocked a lot of stuff. But I don't know, dude. I will say this. It's just like, I think my final verdict is like, if you like this game, go play Valheim. And go play it in a couple months because it's about to be, version 1. I think it's about to be like the best version of itself. So I think the more I played RuneScape Dragonwilds, the more I then like yearned to go play Valheim. And that's exactly what I did. This is the first game I played with an old elementary school friend. I was like, hey dude, remember RuneScape? And I'm like, I'm kind of hyping it up because I'm like, dude, this looks like a Valheim, Valheim crafting survival game. It's RuneScape. Let's try it. Let's give it a go. And we did, and we played through the whole thing, and it was fun. I'm really glad that we got to do it because, we had a lot of fun together discovering. But then immediately I was like, yo, after we finished RuneScape, we went and played through all of Valheim. I feel like I had so much more fun playing Valheim. I felt like the building was so much more rewarding. I feel like the architecture and what I was able to create in Valheim was like chef's kiss. It was just amazing. And I don't know, I just feel like Valheim is amazing. That's my takeaway from playing RuneScape is Valheim is amazing. That's how close RuneScape is to Valheim. So where does RuneScape go from here? I think some things that would help RuneScape for me probably are not feasible. Because things that I think are like a must-have, like the procedural generation, that's probably not feasible or viable at this point. Maybe that had to be built into the core mechanics sooner. That'd probably mess up all their quest line and all their work that they've done. But I feel like not having the procedural generation really makes this a 1, maybe 2 time playthrough, and that's it. And that's maybe what they're going for. I don't know. Maybe this is just like, hey, we want to branch out into a new game. They see how well Valheim's doing, and then they take their crack at it. I think some things that would make RuneScape Dragonwilds better for me is incorporating all the beloved RuneScape elements that we all grew up with. You know what I mean? Like the classic like teleporter, you put like a circle around you and spin meme. I feel like they should embrace all the memes. I feel like they should embrace the old music. they should be referencing the old music that they had and maybe have it updated. But I feel like there's such a nostalgia element that comes in with the music. I don't get any sense of that at all. And I feel like that could easily associate RuneScape Dragonwilds with the RuneScape world, which I think it's desperately lacking right now. I also feel like we need to get a tiny little glimpse of what rune armor looks like. Like, that was such a crazy carrot in all of the RuneScape games that I'd love to see just a little hint of what rune looks like. I also think that a huge element of what made RuneScape successful was the community aspect. It was the social aspect. It's all these players are jumping onto the server and we're all navigating through this space. Whereas this crafting survival, I don't know, it just is missing the people. It's missing why RuneScape was groundbreaking. It was a Guinness World Record for most MMORPG. Like, how do we get elements of that back into the game? How do we get somebody spamming that they'll be your girlfriend for 100 gold per month? No, I don't. You know what? No, I don't think we need that. No, we can leave that out of it. But I want to sell 100 lobster for 34 gold, and that's a good deal, and I'm not going any lower. Oh, RuneScape Dragonwilds. Desperately, this game needs some elements of old RuneScape, and they need it now. I think also, to be honest, I would love to see, I know this is crazy, I would love to see RuneScape Classic graphics with this game. I feel like RuneScape Classic graphics, maybe there's a small little update, but that was like peak RuneScape for me. I think all the design and aesthetic elements of RuneScape Classic is so much better than any other RuneScape game that we have ever seen, any RuneScape version that we've seen yet. I think that RuneScape Classic had such iconic aesthetics that it'd be fun to see that game in Dragonwilds. And there we go. That's my initial feedback on Dragonwilds. I think in its current state, I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. I think it will get higher as the game becomes more complete. And I'm sure I'll come back and be like, hey, you know what? I was wrong. They did this and this. But I think in its current state, it's a 20, maybe 30-hour game. And there's really, to me, no reason to replay it again. Also, it's $30, so it's pretty high for just a beta game. You can turn around and go get Valheim for $20, and that's about to be complete. I feel like RuneScape was just kind of taking advantage of their name. And I feel like this was more of a business move by RuneScape than a pushing the title and the lore of RuneScape. What did you guys think about Dragonwilds? Was it way too close to Valheim? Or were there parts that you really liked? Let me know in the comments. And if you like these kinds of videos, I think I'm going to be making more game review, branching outside of TF2 videos. So subscribe for the future. Cool, thanks for watching.